Welcome to episode 111 of the Guardian 1 podcast. We record live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by Jez.
Good morning.
Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
Sharks.
Connection-based, some kind of matchmaking.
And Gray.
Good evening, everyone.
We are going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for listening in on the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter, at G1Net. That's G, the number 1, N-E-T. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to feedback@guardian1.net. If you do a search on budget.net for Guardian 1, you'll find our forums group, which we also use for both comments and feedback. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you can't catch the show live, you can always search for the Guardian 1 podcast on iTunes, as well as the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts as part of the network, including the flagship podcast, Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at GuardiansofD and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/GuardiansofD. Other podcasts that are part of the Guardian Radio Network include previous episodes of TTL Party Chat and Robust Radio. There's also a podcast called Ghost and Echoes, which contains a bit of fan fiction and audio versions of the Grimoire cards found within Destiny. That's it for housekeeping. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much, Hollow River. Okay, I wanted to start this episode 111, off by paying very small tribute by just saying a few nice words about John Glenn, who died today. He was the first American to orbit the Earth 3 times around, and I wanted to read this. Quote. It says, "As I hurtled through space, one thought kept crossing my mind. Every part of the rocket was supplied by the lowest bidder." That's funny. And that's crazy to think about, especially when you look at where technology is now compared to where technology was then. It's almost like I drive a 2005 Town and Country. It's a really sweet minivan, and all of the doors open by themselves and close by themselves, and they have these fold-away seating. And just to think how much more advanced that minivan is than the rockets that they went up in, the craft that took them into space. It's crazy to think about. And so 1 part daredevil, 1 part badass, and 10 parts bravery. That's what I feel the NASA has been and was all about. And so we bid you farewell, John Glenn. What was that you wanted to say, Sharks? No,
I totally agree. Nope.
I heard somewhere at some point some ridiculous fact. I'd have to look it up to verify exactly what it was, but there's X amount more computing power in the average smartphone today than there was, to put our guys on the moon. And
definitely.
It's just crazy to hear how much RAM and ROM the onboard systems on those lunar landers had and things like that. It's just crazy.
Everything, down to the computational power of one of those solar powered calculators. It's crazy to think about, and I kind of understand some people falsely believe that the moon landings were faked, but come on, we're not talking about they traveled through time or something like this. This is the next closest celestial body to us. There's no way we couldn't send people up in a rocket. It is crazy to think about telemetry and having all of these things, just I don't understand how they know where everything is going to be when it does, but it does. These Mars rovers. That's crazy to think about. We designed these things here, we sent them there, and now they're driving around the surface, doing things that we tell them to do, taking core samples and images like this. It's all crazy. Space is crazy. I don't know if we make it that far. I'm looking forward to Starfleet. I would join Starfleet. But anyways, let's talk about some Destiny. The dawning. Super excited about the dawning. Number one, I'm very, very, very excited that there's going to be snow in the tower. This is something that I wanted from the get-go. Game launched in September, and then all of a sudden here comes December, and I was like, they have to have snow in the tower. And then the next year, no snow in the tower. I'm very excited about snow in the tower. I'm very excited that that the book is free. I'm excited that participation is dependent on whether you own the latest DLC, the latest world upgrade. I feel like that's fair. Every single day having a new present. I think that's amazing. When I made my predictions last week, I made them 1 week late, so just shift everything 1 week later. I figured that they were going to want to give people a break. People are grinding out right now Iron Banner to get their light level up, to get some cool gear. I figured they'd want to give people a break, but no, they're slamming us right into SRL. And when I was looking at the times, I was thinking that this would be opportune. This would be optimal, except for Iron Banner. So I want to talk about it. Let's talk about the dawning. Gray, what do you think about this dawning? What are you most excited about? What are you not excited about? What am I missing here?
So correct me if I'm wrong. The only piece that I got as far as information about the dawning, me personally, was from what Deej posted out on December 3rd and the trailer. Was there more that came out on the dawning besides those two?
Well, there was quite a few
news sources at PSX.
The PSX information?
Yeah, that's where they premiered. They premiered the Dawning trailer during the PlayStation Experience main event, so to speak. It was part of their display there. That's where we got our first dose of information from it. And then throughout the PSX event, various Bungie members were interviewed by various members of the press, and that's where most of the earliest information came. And then, they touched on it tonight in the update.
So, besides what Dee just said and what was in the update tonight, that's about the information that I can contribute to this conversation. It might be best to actually start off with Agrios, kind of going through the nuts and bolts, just because I haven't been able to dive into it yet.
Well, I was hoping for more of just an off-the-cuff thoughts from you, but you know what? You're right. I should just thrown it to Agrios. I should have just thrown it right to him from the beginning.
Since you know very little about what's coming out, that means you would want to go first. That way, you're not like, oh well, he said everything I knew. See ya.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm happy to give you my assessment so far. Initially, I like the idea. The gear sets look very cool. I like the fact that we're getting more than what was given to us last year with SRL. At least we know of one new map that I could see on Mercury, so more content. Jez says there's two, so he's going to inform me of another one that's coming out. I mean, I guess there was one that showed a snowy landscape that they were going on too. I'm a little skeptical about the new quests that we're getting, right? They said that we're getting a new quest line. I'm hoping that this isn't just like Festival of the Lost quest line. Here you've got 2 very easy steps that you have to do to accomplish something. I think that turning it into a whole winter event, I was not expecting. I guess I peg this somewhere between what the Festival of the Lost is in the amount of content that we get and what the April update was. Somewhere in the middle of those two is where I'm hoping this lands.
Okay, I think that's fair, but I feel like as long as we get something that was better than this last Festival of the Lost, I think that we're probably good. I do want to say, damn you, Unilala, for she has posted it in the chat. I'm hoping for tower snowball fights. That would be fantastic. That would be really fantastic. Now I want that, and now that's not going to happen. And now, thanks a lot.
That'd be brilliant.
Sharks, what are your initial reactions to this? Does it seem like a step in the right direction, is from what we know so far?
My initial reaction is how much is it going to cost me?
How often is that not your initial reaction?
Well, yeah, but even more so, because with what they've shown us and with Bungie's past experiences with ornaments and whatnot, it's very, very difficult to get stuff. And we already know that, like, there was, I don't remember, what somebody posted it somewhere last week, 10 or 15 seconds worth of that commercial was Eververse. I mean, I don't know. I think they're going to be pushing buy-in stuff. They've been doing that a lot. So we'll see. As far as the gear sets, I mean, yeah, the gear sets look really cool. Really cool. And the potential to infuse some of those gear sets, like the Sparrow Racing League gear sets, they're going to be coming in. I'm assuming like the gear sets were last year, where you get or like the Ghost, where you get a 3 and you can infuse it up and wear that later. I mean, Deej made a comment which actually made me laugh. He was like, "Oh, I'm sure there will be people that will wear their Sparrow Racing League gear sets through a raid. I wouldn't recommend that." Heck, I totally recommend that. That's like the whole point. Because to be quite honest, most of the perks that we get on gear sets aren't do or die anyways. So I mean, that'd be badass. So I mean, I look forward to that kind of stuff. I was kind of standoffish as far as looking at what they were showing, but doing this podcast and being as into Destiny as I am, I always end up looking at too much. But I think some of the stuff looks really cool. Having another company involved with doing some of the gear is really cool, which we will get into later. And I'm sure that there's a lot of other stuff that we haven't seen yet. But again, I am going to compare this to Festival of the Lost, because this is basically, it's the same thing. How much is it going to cost me? How much am I going to spend, or how much am I going to want to spend? Will I spend it this time? Probably, if the gear set is good.
Agrios, you had something to add, or are you just muting yourself?
No, I'm just messing with my screen.
Okay. Jez, what were your initial impressions of the Dawning?
Well, it looks cool. A lot of the stuff, like the horny armor, is probably, I think they confirmed that's behind the boxes. But I'll tell you why you don't want to wear your SRL gear, is because everything except for your helm does not have light.
Not yet.
No, everything does have light now.
Oh, everything?
All the SRL gear will have all light level this time.
Actually, I do want to say one other thing, since we went back to that real quick, not to cut Jez off, but I am, and now I'm very doubtful that this is going to happen, but I hope that those of us that spent money on the gear last year to get that special SRL light up gear, that will be infusable also. Put it into your kiosk, bring it back out, and infuse it.
That's what I expect to happen for all of it.
I don't think it's going to, though. I don't think it will. It would be nice. But yeah, all the gear is infusable, Jez.
And let's hope it takes shaders.
Yeah, because I think if they do it, they're going to do it as a blanket thing for all the SRL gear, because they're building that, they're putting it in the kiosk now, so you'll be able to take the gear out of the kiosk, and I think it'll just be a standard sort of setting for everything in the kiosk. Maybe.
Oh, that's one thing we didn't talk about. There's a kiosk that you can buy stuff directly. Or
well, I didn't go over the news at all for it yet, but
I know, but like we were going over the dawning information that came out, and that was one of the things that you can, instead of rolling for random chance in boxes, you can buy it directly.
Okay,
for
so
at least some of the things that I know of.
So, Agrios, why don't you give us your initial impression and then give us the rundown on everything, and then we will wrap it up, what everyone wants to say, going into something else.
Initial impression is time will tell. I'm going to bite my tongue on that. Like, maybe Bungie will have learned a bit from the general community impressions, but I mean, I'm sure they learn more from their pocketbook than anything else. And I can't blame them. They're like a business. They're there to make money. I mean, they don't want to compromise their ideals and morals as, artists, so to speak, but like they're there to make money. So my biggest fear is that the Eververse model they've been using is successful. And the only changes that we're going to see are PR sort of fluff padding to try to, teaspoon of sugar makes the medicine go down sort of effect.
Well, that's better than a sharp stick in the eye and take this medicine. I didn't buy anything last time. They made no money from me. They made money from other people, but not from me. And I want to spend money. And you know what? I don't even mind spending money. What I don't want is to not get anything for my money. Like Jez was saying, I'm really excited to learn more about this kiosk where you can buy things specifically, because that will be where I spend my money. And I'm not even saying that they shouldn't put in RNG stuff. Some people are very interested in scratch tickets and things like this. Some people want to test their luck. They want to push their luck. I agree, Sharks. But
not for real money. For in-game currency, that's fine. If you want to waste your time and effort to earn in-game currency and risk that in RNG format, I'm all for that in games. Where I have the problem is or if it's both. If people are willing or allowed to risk their own money and I'm allowed to earn in-game currency to do the same thing, that's fine with me too. But when it's exclusively real-world money RNG, that's crossed the line for me.
You know what it is? What happened is I picked up so many packages that were just totally worthless to me that when I pick up a package that I purchased with real dollars that's worthless to me, I feel like I have a chance to complain. Like, oh, I didn't get what I wanted from the Vanguard again. Oh, well, I guess I'll just run around the circle again.
Overall, the package system from Festival of Lost made me feel bad. Like, there's no part of it that made me feel good. Even getting one item that you want is overshadowed by not getting anything else that you want and potentially what you've spent on. I mean, some people went and got 80 packages, didn't get what they want, did get some good things, but their joy in getting those things was completely overshadowed by not getting what they want and buying 80 packages worth of stuff.
You know what?
Okay, so I want to say something on this. All right, so Remy has a good point in that, if you're not putting money into it, that you don't have the right to complain. But I don't really agree with that, because we as the consumer, our voices for whatever are heard, and that is the way to complain about stuff and get things changed. But the problem is that we have people in the community that say one thing and do something else. For instance, and I'm gonna call out Triple Rec on this one. Okay, Triple Rec said during Destiny Community Podcast, because they were asking him about buying packages and whatnot. He goes, "Oh yeah, he was willing to spend $200, and I think this was on Taking Gear, those packages. He was willing to spend $200 of his own money, money that he's made to buy packages." And he goes, but normal people wouldn't do that. And he was kind of cutting it down, saying, it's kind of sucks that you're buying this RNG stuff and doing it. He goes, but then he continues to say that his stream wanted him to continue opening stuff for the numbers or whatever. And so he continued to open packages for 4 hours. They gave him enough money to open up packages for 4 hours straight. That is a shitload of money. Okay. And every single time that Triple Rec bought a package and opened that up goes into that percentage of numbers that Bungie sees that, oh, people are buying packages. So sitting there buying it and complaining isn't going to help either. You have to do both. You have to complain and you have to not buy. You don't buy. That's the way to really get it through their heads. Triple Rec spending who knows how much money on buying these RNG bullshit packages is just going to make Bungie and Activision say, hey, you know what? People are buying it. So not buying it.
I agree with you. Someone like Triple Rec's one of the few people I see as having streamers. Let me put it this way. People like Triple Rec who are streamers who have an audience like that are some of the few people who have an excuse for it. Because they do have fans. Their goal is to provide their fans with enjoyment. And if that's what their fans want, their goal is to provide that. Even if it's doing something that's negative for the community, if that's what the fans want, that's what the fans want. So
you don't have to.
The average person, I feel like if you're going to complain about it, you also need to vote with your wallet. But someone like Triple Rec doing that and showing how many packages that you need to open. Like, I would never know that there's a person out there who opened 80 packages and didn't get almost anything good had someone not done it. So them doing this for educational purposes does have some merit. I'm not saying I disagree with you as far as this is contributing to Bungie continuing this. It's a bad thing that if you wanted to stop as a streamer, you shouldn't do it. But by the same note, you need to please your fans first and foremost.
I hate to do this, but I agree with Agrios. I really feel like there's value in finding out, total numbers. Holtzman did a similar thing, where he opened up 100 packages so that he could get these numbers. How many times did he get these things out of 100 packages? I definitely see the value in that, especially when
the problem with what you two are saying, though, and this will go into what we're going to talk about later, is that it's the 1%ers. You're talking about the 1%ers doing stuff. You're saying that they have all the pull with everything. Well, if they have all the pull, and no, but they do have a lot of the pull. And if they have all the pull and they're doing this stuff too, that contributes to the pull.
The pull is the money. The pull is whether Bungie looks at the market accounting department comes back and says, this is your best way of making money or not. Not whether a streamer who has a lot of followers is doing it or not. For instance, look at it this way. This is something unquantifiable that we have no way of even getting data on. How many people out there went and they're like, well, I don't know if I want to spend money on these packages. Let's look up information. And they look up something like what Triple Rec did, and they see how dismal the outlook on getting anything they want is, and now they don't go spend any money because of that. How much money did Bungie lose because of streamers demonstrating how hopeless it is?
That's exactly the reason that I agreed with you, Agrios, is because when I saw those numbers,
it's because of their position of power,
when I saw those numbers, when I saw that, when I saw Holtzman only pulled one ghost, it was like, well, I'm definitely not buying 100 packages of these, like if I know that my chances of getting this are so low, I'm definitely not spending any money. So, I mean, there's definitely value in that. I do see what you're saying too, Sharks. But I feel like there's going to be a free package every day. No, we don't know what's going to be in these packages. I hope that it is, if they are doing an RNG thing still, I'm hoping that this is one of those RNG packages, especially if what we're looking at is a similar drop rate to what we saw with Festival of the Lost, this last Festival of the Lost. If we're looking at that kind of rate, why not give everybody, however many packages are from the 13th to the 3rd? Is it from the 13th to the 3rd? Is it every single day that the dawning is? Yeah.
It's 21 days.
Because I feel, and I will not know this for truly until the event launches, but I feel like if you're going to give me that many free packages, I'm much more likely to give you money to boost my chances to get something else that I like also. I
don't think they're going to be the same packages. I don't feel like that. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be different packages, and I feel like the ones you get a daily are going to many times give you 5 motes of light and 3 strange coins or something,
Yeah, I could definitely see that too, which is one of the reasons why I have to hold on to my thought process there until the event launches. Jez, what was this information you were saying about a kiosk where we could buy this? Agrios, do you have that information in front of you?
Well, we pretty much, when we discussed it, when Jez brought it up, we pretty much outlined everything, all the details we have on it.
Have we seen what was being sold, or was it just words?
I haven't seen any images except for the images in the trailer. And what Bungie's posted, like, in the update and stuff.
Got it.
And also, there's some images out there as far as, like, we've seen some of the Sparrow Racing tracks, but that's all I've seen.
Well, I'm hopeful. I am hopeful like I was going into Festival of the Lost. I felt like this second Festival of the Lost, they were really going to do things right. They did not, in my opinion, do things right at all. But from what I've seen from this dawning, I feel like I am just as hopeful as I was for this Festival of the Lost. So
I found out because I completely slipped my mind what this was regarding. This was because they were talking about all the ornaments from Thorn, Last Word, Black Spindle, Red Death, and coming back Icebreaker. It's an ornament kiosk where you buy it. So you buy ornaments.
Okay, that was something that I had heard as well, and that's cool. I'm interested in that. Didn't they say that Xur wouldn't be selling them anymore? Also,
I did not hear that. I mean,
so
he still should.
They talk about, like, I don't know. I've heard a lot of different things about, like, the way we're going to get these rewards from the winter event, as far as, like, taking RNG out of the equation and whatnot, and maybe they'll be purchasable. But do you think it's going to be purchasable with some sort of more limited currency? Like, do you think they'll be using, like, silver dust only to purchase some of these things, stuff like that? Like, stuff that's so RNG and difficult to get in the first place that it might as well be RNG rewards?
That's an interesting thought. I haven't put any brain power into that yet.
They might have some
so
silver dust
that
things.
you can only pick 1 or 2 things. You're only going to get those 1 or 2 things and then have to buy packages if you want the rest.
They might have some silver dust things, like they have that Yaller Wing.
It's true. That's very true. I'm excited to see what they sell anyways. Even if I don't plan on buying it, it's cool to see a difference there.
Okay, so wait, before we move on, what is everybody's thoughts on Icebreaker coming back? And not only it coming back, but only coming back as an RNG potential through this event.
It's not through this event. It's a Nightfall reward, isn't it?
It's a Nightfall bounty reward.
But that's
right.
That's not linked to this, right? Like, it launches at the same time.
Coming back as part of this event.
Well,
yeah, I actually didn't go over my information about the event yet. So
isn't the Nightfall bounty just a new thing?
Yeah, I thought it was just a new thing.
No,
that was my impression.
Just came out now.
So that makes me wonder: is strike scoring going to stick around? Because I think it should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they said strike scoring is going to stick around, but I was wondering if this Icebreaker quest was.
No, they wouldn't put it in the game temporarily, because then the people will complain, hey, I tried to get an LFG, but they want Icebreaker.
Right. They don't want to do that again. I'll tell you what, as somebody who runs specifically Trespasser, so exotic in the special slot, I'm very excited about having the Icebreaker come back, because just for so many reasons, just for so many situations, I just ran Icebreaker as my special. Always ammo, put it away for a little bit, comes back. I'm so excited about it coming back. Agrios, why don't you go over all the information you have, and then we can wrap this up. I do want to talk about SRL real quick. I do want to talk about Iron Banner, but let's just hear what you have in front of you, Agrios.
Okay, well, I mean, we pretty much hit on all the things kind of broken up throughout all the conversation there, so I don't want to be too redundant and whatnot. Sparrow Racing is making a comeback. It's going to be under Amanda Holiday again. We didn't mention strikes are about to become a scored event. They're going to be presided over by Commander Zavala. And some of the scored strikes have been redesigned to feature SIVA infestations. Now, some of the wording that has me curious about strikes is I'm curious if every strike is going to be scored or if only certain strikes are going to be scored. Some of the way they've been phrasing this makes me believe that maybe not every strike in the game will actually have the scoring built into it.
Interesting.
And it says that there are new gear sets, new exotic weapons, and an old favorite to help you break the winter ice. We just referred to the return of Icebreaker. Now, we also have seen a couple other exotics here. We know they're going to be tied to quest lines and not diluting the exotic pool. We saw the much sought after fire and void versions of Thunderlord that we saw in trailers dating the whole way back to pre-Taking King trailers. So it's interesting to finally see these come to light. Do you think these are things that were always intended to come back and be put in the game, or that they were just scrapped, and then when people talked about seeing them in the early, alpha footage trailers that they put out, they decided to re-add in? Or do you think this is all part of the plan as far as that goes?
I feel like they have a pool of exotics that they can dole out in each event instead of having them all at once.
There's that infamous rocket launcher that looks like a microphone everybody's always been talking about that I'm really surprised we haven't seen pop up yet.
That'll be Crimson Doubles.
I wish that there was a little bit more of a story behind some of these things, like Agrios. You talked about why the ghost's voice changed, like as somebody who's been around since before day one, you're curious, you would like some kind of story behind it. And I'm happy for Bungie to go into Destiny, and with the changing of seasons or the changing of the state of the world, take certain things out. Icebreaker didn't make it back. Going into year 3, you could still use it if you had it. You can still pick it up from the kiosk, but it's not going to drop at a high enough light level for you to really want to use it in certain situations. I wish that there was a little bit more story behind that. I mean, I can't imagine what it would be, and we're just talking about time and effort to make something up to fill this in. But I like the idea that it's coming back now. I like the idea that at some point, certain things get left behind. I like that they shake up what's going on in the game like this. I did want to say, though, and I want to continue this conversation, but I was watching recently this Finding Dory, and we bought like the 5-hour version that has the movie, and then it's got 4 hours of extras. And in Finding Dory originally, all blue tangs were supposed to have memory problems. And so whenever I see somebody talking about, what about this part of the game, or each kind of character was supposed to have a different intro to how they're supposed to be, I'm tired of seeing those comments, especially after seeing this, because the idea that just because it was in the game at some point is such a big deal that you can't get over it and just accept what they've put. Like, they cut that out for some reason. They didn't want to have a different intro for Awoken. They didn't want to have a different intro for humans. Whatever reasons that those may be, that's not what happened. And things change as they go along. And I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm getting sick of it. Not as much as I'm getting sick of hearing people complain about skill-based matchmaking. Can't wait to talk about that.
I think there should have been original openings for all of it. I really felt a lack of involvement with my character, not understanding what Awokens and things like that were.
No, I definitely agree with you. But to make it I'm certain that that's not at all what you say whenever somebody's like, oh, come check out my stream. I'm certain you don't open with, I can't play this game because they didn't have something in there that I heard they might have. Like, this is a valid opinion, a valid opinion that I share, but it's not something you lead with. Like Bungie tweets out, oh, join us tomorrow for Twitch, and the first 30 comments are remove skill-based matchmaking. Like, Jesus, shut up. So I totally get what you're saying, and I would have loved to have had those things.
Type thing.
Yeah, you aren't letting it ruin what is there, and so that's what I'm trying to get at. But going back to what you're saying, yeah, I'm really glad Icebreaker's making it back. Sharks, what do you think about all this? What do you think about the meta that they create artificially, and are you excited to have Icebreaker come back?
It will be interesting, that's for sure. I mean, to be quite honest, at this point, everything has changed since Icebreaker was prevalent, and it's not any different having a gun like I don't know, these universal remote or whatever in the game, bringing these exotics back. Yeah, cool. I mean, it's in the game. Let's use it. I've been for that the whole time. Have Necrochasm be able to bring that all the way up to 400 light too. Whatever. I think all of the stuff should be there. Whether it's gonna ruin the game, I mean, it might cause problems here, and Bungie will buff, nerf, or whatever the hell they decide to do the next time that there's some kind of big issue. But I like having the stuff there. I like being able to use it. I mean, as it is now, the gun works. It was funny. Maynard James jumped into an Iron Banner match with me. He was like, this was after they were talking about Icebreaker coming back. He goes, you know what? I want to try my Icebreaker. I haven't tried it in a long time. It still one-shots people in Iron Banner. That's he went from whatever light level he is. I don't know if he's 400 or 399 or whatnot, and it dropped him down to 371, and it was still one-shotting people. So. Yeah,
it's not your core light that's what matters.
Right. It's not. It's not going to break the game. So I'm glad that they're bringing it back.
Gray.
I've never had the weapon. I've never had a chance to use it. Year 1 Icebreaker. I've never had it. So yeah, I hope I get it. I hope I get to try it. Do you guys think that if you have Year 1, you'll be able to just buy Year 3 through the kiosk?
No.
They said they're not going to do that.
I don't. They didn't say they weren't going to do that, but they haven't done that with
Yellowhorn.
They didn't do that with previous weapons that they brought forward, like Jez was saying, Yellowhorn.
The Yellowhorn.
Yeah.
Only the initial set of weapons in the first Year 2 did that.
So yeah, I think that you're in for a treat because it was just always so nice having ammo.
That's what I'm looking forward to, is not running out of, or I guess always having a steady flow of sniper ammo, because it regenerates at an interval, right? 20 seconds or something.
No, they slowed it way down from what it originally was, and the gun does kick like a mother.
It does kick.
It was 1 round every 5 seconds. They slowed it to 1 round every 8 seconds. And they are buffing it to 1 round every 6 seconds.
Interesting. Yeah, so as something that you use to help build up your primary use, like if you take down a couple of enemies with your primary and then you see a target you want to go for, you can pull out your Icebreaker, put a couple shots in, and switch back to your primary. It's a really nice addition. It's a really nice feel to the gun. Jez, what do you think about this?
So I'll give Gray some advice when he starts using it. Expect to see a lot of green on the ground. Because you can't pick up secondary ammo boxes.
Oh yeah, you have to wait for it to charge.
I really like Icebreaker because of its secondary nature. Like, it's not supposed to be a weapon that you think of primarily because of the round recharging. So it's a lot of shoot with your primary, switch to your sniper, get a couple shots off, switch back to your primary, and by the time you have to use your sniper again, you usually have rounds back. So I really like that playstyle.
You can't man it.
What's that?
I said it's always there when you need it, but you can't man it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's so much fun.
I think it's one of the better designed ones, and at 5 seconds, it was a little bit too aggressive. And that's why in Year 1 videos, you'll see dudes standing up on the ledge where you start vault of glass, shooting Templar with Icebreaker, not breaking a sweat.
Right.
You know, again, I haven't had a chance to play with this yet, but I was playing Trials this past weekend, and I realized a very big fault in my game. That's when I have advantage on a sniper lane, and I miss my shot, and I lose that advantage. I am terrible about just staying in that sniper lane and trying to get a second shot off, as opposed to leaving and trying to find a different angle. And this gun, because of its nature, kind of tells you, well, now you got 6 seconds to burn. Go find a different angle to aim at that same opponent.
Well,
now that they know where you are.
It does have a magazine of 6. So
just
can
go
get
with it.
6
Come on.
shots off. You can get 6 failed shots off before you gotta go take your shot or take your new perch.
Okay,
it's about
so
my average,
Gray, I want
to. Because it kicks like a mule, it's not super great at that though.
I want to say, Gray, also that so Icebreaker showed up and I had an opportunity to purchase it from Zur, and I looked at that stability and I just scoffed. I just said, no, this is not the gun for me. You know, I need a lot more stability than what little this is offering me. And so I passed it up. And then, I don't know, it had to have been only 1 week, maybe 2 weeks later, I started seeing like everybody using this because everybody bought it. And this was also during the time period where there was no mobile vault. You couldn't just beam in stuff from your vault in the tower into wherever you were. And this is at the same period of time where nightfalls were forever, where if everyone died, you were returned to orbit, and then that was just it. You were just screwed. And there was so many times that me and Agrios and Sharks were just hunkered down underneath like a grate or behind some rocks, and I just kept thinking, oh my God, if I just had Icebreaker, I could just keep plinking away at this, like I had to go out and get ammo from where there was just an insane amount of bad guys, and I didn't want to be the guy who died first or the guy who ran out and got killed. Like I can hang out with people like that, but I don't want people to think that that's who I am. And so for the longest time, this podcast was just me talking about how I hate myself for not picking up the Icebreaker when I had the opportunity because of its stability. And its stability is crap. But it's worth it. It's worth it if you're being patient. I found that the fact that it was only every 5 seconds wasn't even a big deal because you could just let that reticle come back down. It wasn't a big deal. So this, I'm super excited about the Icebreaker coming back. Did I get everyone? Good. Where are we at now, Agrios? Are we at SRL yet?
Yeah, well, we were talking about the Dawning update, and Sparrow Racing League is coming back to brand new tracks. I've been trying to keep myself blind on that to a degree, so I don't really know much about them. I haven't watched any videos of the tracks. I like to experience that stuff firsthand and whatnot. But there's going to be an SRL Bungie bounty, Rooster Teeth versus Bungie. Rooster Teeth has a long history with Bungie. If you're not familiar with Rooster Teeth, go check them out. They make lots of cool stuff. It's going to be Wednesday, December 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific. That's 1 p.m. Eastern time. And 3 of Rooster Teeth's racers will battle 3 of Bungie's. The first Sparrow to cross the finish line will claim victory for their team. So that should be an interesting Bungie bounty to check out and whatnot. I'm really interested to hear whoever they bring to have sit in and give commentary on, usually they bring an artist or whatnot to talk about people who designed that Sparrow track. What were they thinking when they put jumps where they jump and stuff like that. That's who I'm really hoping they bring along for this bounty to talk while this is going on.
I'm hoping they bring along this guy who was on Barely Productions, the Key of Awesome. I forgot what his name is now, but he went to Rooster Teeth recently, and so I'm looking forward to maybe seeing him. It's a long shot, but his impression of Pitbull was hilarious.
2 new tracks. What do you guys think about that too?
So 2 new tracks, and are those other ones coming back in the rotation?
Yep.
So
yeah.
So it's going
two
to be
added to the 2 we had before.
So it's going to be
4.
Twice as hard to get your book done because you might get a track that you don't have any interest in playing because it's not adding to your book.
What if they put SRL in custom matches? Custom matches apply toward your totals for everything else you do. Why wouldn't they apply toward your totals for SRL?
They already said they do.
There you go.
So wait. So they already said what does?
Custom matches.
If you don't finish, okay, so you get rewards during through the book. You also get rewards during the event, and if you do not finish your book, you go into custom matches afterwards and finish your book, and then you'll get your rewards. Bungie already stated that. So if you're saying that you're going to have a problem because of certain maps, you're not going to have a problem because you can just go back and do what Agrios is saying and play whatever map you want to in a custom match.
Interesting. Okay, so SRL. I'm very excited to have SRL back. I feel like it's something that I became very good at. There was 2 levels to learning these things. There was the level where you tried to hit all of the gates, and then there was a level where you just tried to cut off time. And it looks like that there's many different ways to go through these maps again. Very excited about racing. Very excited about having it stick around after the event in private matches. I don't know. There's just so much we don't know, and I can't wait to find out. Gray, what do you think about this? SRL coming back?
I'm very excited too. This is way too long coming. Can't believe it's been a whole year since we got to experience a very unique game mode compared to anything else that we see in Destiny. Nothing that's first-person shooter type element. Something that's just completely unique, completely different, really fun. I think the community really enjoyed it, and I'm surprised that it's taken this long to bring it back. I hope that it lands with just as much excitement and it delivers just as well as it did last year. I really don't want to come back here next week and have things to complain about related to Sparrow Racing League. The Dawning can be a complete bust, and I'd be fine if Sparrow Racing League is a blast.
Oh my God! I just saw what you have on our Twitch for Sharks. That's so hilarious. Thank you, Gray. That's good times. Yeah, I definitely don't want to have anything. I definitely don't want to have anything to complain about. I wish that they had done Festival of the Lost better because then we would know that this was going to be awesome. But I guess really for me, bottom line is that there wasn't any specific new game mode or anything really different about Festival of the Lost other than making the purchase to have a chance to get something. And with the Dawning, even if I don't buy anything, even if I have no plans to spend money, I can go and race the Sparrow. And this is really worth it. When I was getting candy for those sacks, I was thinking, okay, well, I might get one of these same old modifiers, consumables that I've been sitting on for a year, and maybe this one shader that I got the first time I opened one of those things. It really fell flat. I feel like there will not be a falling flat with racing. Racing is itself the reward. Additionally, there's this book. There's a new book. There's new shader. There's a new emblem. I feel like this is really going to. I feel like it's going to be great. I feel like SRL is going to be great. Jez, what do you make of this?
SRL is kind of hit or miss for some people because some people just don't like racing.
It's true. I mean,
people pick up Destiny. It's like, oh, I don't really know how to play any racing. And I know a lot of people will burn out on it very quickly, depending on its variety.
Do you guys think that there is a portion of the event that they haven't talked about yet?
Well, there's the whole PvE quest line thing, but
well, I mean, did you hear elaboration on that? I mean,
Well, I don't know if that's related to the Dawning or if it's SRL, because I don't know, they just blending these two things together, they're not really leaving much room for separation. So I don't know if there is anything to SRL besides new SRL stuff. But yeah.
I will buy Sparrows in the form of this package will contain a Sparrow you do not own yet. I will buy Sparrows in that form. I think that it sucks because I didn't really want the pink one, but but it was a Sparrow that I had not yet purchased. And
that's
so
totally acceptable to me. Like that takes out the total slot machine effect.
Right.
It's only if you can throw an infinite amount of money away at something do I find it crossing like the line of unacceptability. In that case, at some point you're gonna you can look at that and be like, this amount of money buys me everything there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want there to be a system that if you have everything that is a random chance to get, if this box has 10 different Sparrows and you buy enough boxes to get all 10 Sparrows, I want that box to be grayed out. I don't want it to stay there and it should have some indication you're not going to get anything new from this. Don't buy me.
Maybe it will be maybe it will be like when you go to pick up a package from the Vanguard, when you hit Y on a package, it will tell you all of the ships that you've already received. Like it says already own each of these ships.
You can do that right now, but it just doesn't say you already own it. It just says, here's everything in it.
Totally, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe they will have that in there because I find that really handy. And you know what? You're totally right, Jez. Unfortunately, there are just some people who are not interested in racing, and they seem really pissed off about it. And I don't understand it because I love Destiny. I love running around and shooting in Destiny. I love using my magical space magic. But more than anything, I want to exist in this world that is Destiny. We talk about like arcade games in the tower. We've talked about all these things that aren't shooting in Destiny, and I just want to live in this world. And so for me and people like me, SRL is shit. I love it.
I kind of wish, though that SRL wasn't Rumble.
Yeah, you think like team play?
Yeah, why not?
Why not a variety of modes? I agree with Jez.
Like something like Talladega Nights.
have not Inferno have Mayhem SRL. Mayhem SRL where you have no shields and you have infinite boosts.
What about each team is facing the opposite direction? And you have to, and you're back to back at the beginning, and you have to try and cross the other way. That would actually be really play against your other team. I don't know. That'd be crazy. And I agree. Different modes would be fantastic. Sharks, what do you make of SRL? Are you excited it's making a comeback, or do you just want to shoot things?
Okay, so last SRL, almost 400 races. So yes.
Oh my God.
I like SRL. I am excited to play something different. I'm excited to have something to work for, new gear. I am disappointed in one thing, though. And what I'm disappointed in, and I say this very loosely because I didn't really expect it, but I was hoping. We've talked about this on past episodes. Deej said that they were going to bring something else into SRL for everybody else. And I feel with what they're bringing in the Dawning is not enough for those people that have an issue with SRL. I think it's pretty lackluster. We're talking about having, other than Rumble SRL, have team tag team racing or two people on a Sparrow. I mean, there's so many different things that they could have added to Sparrow Racing League to draw more people in. And I think that they kind of dropped the ball on that. But as far as what it is and, you know, what I'm looking forward to doing, yeah, I will probably get 400 plus more races in. Actually, my goal is to break 1,000 overall. So let's see if I can do that. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but I am a little disappointed in it, and as far as what they're bringing to the table. But you know, it's kind of early to really say that because I haven't done it yet. I haven't tried the strike playlist and whatnot. So ask me next week. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Agrios, why don't you tell us what you're thinking, and then moving on.
I agree with what everybody has said so far. I like we should have different modes to be able to play in instead of just the Rumble format. And Sharks makes good points as well. You're not going to please... I was going to say you're not going to please all. You're not even going to please most of the people dissenting against SRL, even with more elaborate non-SRL events, because a large portion of them, a very large portion of them, part of their gripe is that they purchased a shooting game. Mind you, I'm not saying I agree with this stance necessarily. I don't feel this way. It's just coming from their angle, trying to look at that light. That, you know, they purchased a shooting game. It's what they enjoy doing. They see stuff like, you know, racing and stuff as, I don't know, try to think of something you wouldn't like in a game, like fishing in your shooter or something like that you are not going to enjoy in your shooter, and apply it to that. And then think about how many man hours Bungie spent developing that aspect of the game and what they could have accomplished developing the shooting aspect of the game with that same manpower and time. And that is their gripe.
Man, I can't even think of something that I wouldn't enjoy doing in Destiny. Sharks, can you think of something
Pretty
that you...
big polka dot bows for everybody's hair.
like is there like, because fishing, I don't know, I could dig on some fishing.
One thing I don't enjoy in Destiny, and it's in it.
Opening loot boxes.
Going around and collecting crap for a sword. That is the worst thing ever. So there are definitely aspects. I can totally get on board with what Agrios is saying. There are people that are not going to be happy because there's stuff that you wouldn't enjoy. I love Destiny. I played shitloads of Destiny. I played almost 3,000 hours worth of Destiny. But going around and collecting shit on the moon and shit in the Cosmodrome for a sword was not fun. It was not exciting for me at all. So yes, I totally agree with what Agrios is saying.
Do you think that the collecting? Do you think that the collecting for the sword was a precursor to collect? Like it led with feedback to the collection for Kvostov, and for the collection of Yallarhorn, like the new Yallarhorn. Like basically, it taught them, hey, they don't like to do this, so here you go. So yeah, they're still learning.
Okay, so the only problem I have with what you've said here, Sharks, is that I can't even imagine that there is a single person out there, not a single person, who enjoyed that collection phase for those exotic swords. I'm talking about something that some portion of the people would like. I am not at all interested in the RNG behind picking up those pieces for those swords. There's still 2 swords that I haven't picked up just because I haven't gotten there yet. Like, I'm picking up stuff in the Cosmodrome and I'm not even trying, and it's just still so slow. It's so slow.
But that's what Agrios is saying. You know, people are not going to, there are people out there, like Agrios pointed out, is there are people that do not do racing games. They will not play Mario Kart. They will not play, you know, Rad Racer or any of those games that have ever raced because they don't like that. That is not in their
They
genre.
see racing as the same thing as that.
Right.
But they want to earn the stuff. They don't want to be the only one sitting there without the stuff earned, so they have to go do it. And to them, it's like gathering those materials. Where to us, Sharks is saying, since you can't think of any normal thing that some people like in the game that you don't agree with and like, that's an aspect maybe you can identify with. That these other people see racing as
Totally.
collecting stuff like that.
No,
you know.
but what I was asking him is there some portion of a different game that you would like to see in the game that you, like fishing specific?
No.
Like there's
I
nothing that
wouldn't want that. I would do it. I would do it because I play Destiny, but I wouldn't like that. I hate fishing games. I think they're boring. I don't like it.
Sure.
Like,
Does that mean
I have to cast out here or whatever. No, I wouldn't enjoy that. But as a Destiny player and as a Destiny fan, yeah, I'd probably spend hundreds of hours doing it, but I wouldn't enjoy it.
if you made the decision, would there be any non-combat storyline related Destiny stuff created?
Sharks?
What? Wait, say that again?
I'm asking you that if it were up to you, if you had the final word, would there be any Destiny non-storyline, non-combat things created? Would there be any masks and stuff created? Would there be SRL events? Would there be fishing added? Would any of that be? Would anything like that be? Put that in Destiny, please, or no? Keep working on missions where I can go hunt and shoot things in more creative comm sets and raids.
I personally like, since I have put so many hours into it, I like a change. I like having something different. Last year when Sparrow Racing League came into existence, I thought that was great because I had, in the panel that we had last year, almost everybody was burnt out. And I was one of the few that were still getting on every day and playing. But I was at the point I was burning out too. And having them throw in a racing game, which was totally different, not really expected for this type of game, it was refreshing for me. So yes, I would have them add things. I have seen people put on Reddit and other places like, if we were flying our ships from point A to point B, but we actually had control of them and we had to get through, there's fallen attacking and we could go left or right and do something, just dumb little stuff. Or, we have talked on the panel, we go into the tower and we play Pac-Man, or whatever,
Whack-a-Vandal.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we talk about. But, I think that having things like that in game takes you out of that grind, out of that boring, you're doing the same thing over and over again. But at the same time, I understand what Agrios' whole comment was about people get bored and they don't want certain aspects of the game. But those are the people that have paid the $60 to play a shooter game. They're not the 1% that paid $60 to play the game 2,000 hours.
Gray, what do you think? Is there something that you would like to do in Destiny that's not currently listed besides shooting, or are you mostly shooter / will accept racing as part of the deal?
No, I've never put. I'm nowhere near Sharks' 3,000 hours, but I've never put. I think I'm somewhere closer to about 700 hours into any game, and that means that I have chosen to immerse myself in the world that this game is. And the more that the developers can do to make that world immersive, by all means, I'm going to encourage them to do so, which means bringing out other aspects, fleshing out that world, which, our lives are never just one thing. And Destiny, for a lot of us, is very much one thing. We have a gun in our hand, there's an enemy across the lane from us, and we have to shoot him down and kill them. And then we keep doing it over and over and over again. For me,
there was one stealth mission.
There's one stealth mission. Yep. I would love to see other aspects brought out in this game that flesh out the world and flesh out the experience that I have in the world to make it less unilateral. Whether or not, there's choice, whether it follows a story arc, whether it's just, making the choice that I'm in the Cosmodrome and I'm going to go screw around where there's some water and go fishing because maybe I get something RNG related because I'm fishing, but I'm doing something different in this world to experience what this world has to offer. I am a fan of video games that I'm a fan of a lot of different kinds of video games, but it makes me think of like the Final Fantasy games are very much like that, where there's so many different aspects of things that you can do in the game. I'm not saying that Destiny needs to bring in that kind of an RPG style into its world, but I certainly don't think it would be bad for them to bring aspects into the game to make it more immersive that are against the standard mechanic, the primary mechanic of the game.
What a great answer, Gray. Thank you very much. Jez, what about you? I still really like the idea for Whack-A-Vandal. What is there? Is there something else that you would like to do in Destiny?
For some stupid reason, every game I get, I focus too much on fishing. I'm not even sure if I like it. It's just a thing. And the worst part is most of the games, especially Final Fantasy 15, they have this huge list of fish that you have to catch in order to complete your list. But yeah, like Final Fantasy was a good pick for the thing, because like in the last one alone, there's fishing, there's chocobo races, and just general going around doing errands basically. So there's a lot of ways you can distract yourself from the main story.
I like that a lot. So is there just really a side note, is there other things like that in Final Fantasy 15?
Like chocobo races and fishing?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of like weird things, like you want to level up one of your characters.
There's a pinball game.
Yeah, it's kind of like a weird pinball game.
And you can actually play it on your mobile app outside of the game and earn stuff in the game while you're playing the pinball game on your mobile app.
Okay, yeah. That is what I want to see in Destiny 2. I want to see something like that. That would be amazing, where you can interact.
It's such a deep pinball game. It's crazy.
Is it?
it's
your pinballs have attributes and supers and all kinds of stuff, and elemental damage.
Yep,
and you fight enemies that appear on the pinball board.
And they die. Your pinballs die.
Dude, levels. You collect treasure chests to get your rewards. It's amazing.
That's amazing. All right, let's get back to Destiny.
The pinballs would be your ghost, right? That's what you're batting up, is your little ghost up there?
I played pinball for like 3 hours one day.
But you would, I mean, if you played pinball in Destiny, obviously it would be a servitor.
Obviously, it would be a servitor.
You're fighting a servitor? Because I was thinking you'd be batting the traveler around the board.
Well, imagine this like longitudinal pinball game, and you just have like an axe, and the servitor comes at you, and you slam it, and then it goes flying.
So these other ball things are all fun too, but now I want my ghost inside a clear pinball, and I want to be screaming and yelling insults at me for batting him around the entire time.
All right, we gotta get back to Destiny. I have not purchased. Oh, card games. Lawn Boy brings up card games. That would be really cool too. I mean, you know what? Like, I love Destiny. I love the world that Bungie has created. And I want to spend my time there, and I would go fishing. You know, like, I understand it's not for everyone.
They should just make Destiny card games and stuff like that on mobile apps, microtransaction the shit out of them.
I cannot afford that. I cannot get more ideas.
But it's in the mobile app. You don't need to do it. Just let everybody else microtransaction. Leave it out of the main game.
So those in the chat, all donations that are accepted through the stream today go directly to Sharks funding his mobile transaction fund. So any donations we get tonight in the chat, it's going straight to Sharks. Help support his habit.
Okay, so Agrios, did you have anything else you wanted to throw on SRL before we move on?
Yes, actually. In light of the new SRL arriving, the With Finesse and Speed quest must be completed by eligible PlayStation 4 players prior to accepting update 2.5.0 to earn the EV42 Nightsteed Sparrow. This quest not completed by this time, it will be automatically removed from the progress tab of the character inventory.
And
so if you want to get this
sold
Sparrow
out-
in collection, this may be your only and last chance to do so.
No,
Yeah.
it will be sold at a later date.
I need
Oh,
to
will
get
be?
that.
Where did they say that?
No, Shark's is messing with you.
Yeah.
Oh!
Is it worth getting? I've never. Is this a PlayStation exclusives thing? I've never even heard of this.
Oh yeah, it was the exclusive quest for PlayStation.
Wasn't it Red Bull?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so I have to buy Red Bull to do it?
No. Oh wait, yeah. At the time, you had to have one
Uh-oh.
Red Bull.
Sharks is about to show us the cases and cases that he still has of that Red Bull.
They opened it to everybody, not Red Bull at a certain time, didn't they, Jez? Like that was only until January
Maybe.
or something after the contest that everybody could get it.
In
Quite
the tab, you have a special code.
I have
And-
extra codes if you need one.
I've never even. Is it worth doing?
So, the thing is,
You can go to the kiosk and look at it.
none of the sparrows are that great, and it's an old style sparrow.
No, it's not. It's
It
a new
is?
style glowing one.
Hmm.
The Nightsteed is a
Style?
glowing one.
Let me Google.
You're thinking of the Swift River, Jez.
Wasn't that part of the same? I
No,
thought
the
that was
Swift
part of-
River was the Red Bull one. The Nightsteed was the PlayStation exclusive one. And it's a
Okay.
new one. And
It
it's got
looks
like
sweet.
So I'm getting confused. Okay, it wasn't the Red Bull one. Was it?
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I need to finish that.
was the Red Bull one, and that was an old style one.
Right.
It released in the Taken King expansion. I need to get it. It looks
This
excellent.
was the PlayStation exclusive Sparrow Quest, and it ends up with the new style Nightsteed blue. It's like a blue or purplish kind of like neon lights all along it.
Oh yeah, I've got that.
All
I
right.
got that. Okay, I got that. I should say that. I got that. There's only one thing in this darn game I don't have, and they supposedly fixed the bug, and I still don't have it. So
What is it?
that stupid ship from New Monarchy.
Tommy
Oh
Todd.
yeah. Oh
Won't
yeah.
drop. Won't drop.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, so yeah, moving on. With the release of the Dawning, we'll get some new armor, ornaments, and there's talk of new studios that have joined with Bungie as well. The new gear sets were inspired by helmet concepts originally designed by Joseph Cross. Ian McIntosh provided the vision for the Warlock and Hunter sets. And for the Titan set of armor, Bungie turned to their relatively new partner, High Moon Studios, specifically artist Priscilla Landerer. On a similar note, as rumored in a previous leak, this week Bungie welcomed Vicarious Visions, the developer that has worked on Activision's Guitar Hero, Skylanders, and Transformers games, to the Destiny family. Vicarious Visions is excited to announce that we are partnering with Bungie to further expand the award-winning Destiny universe, the New York-based developer announced via their Facebook page. Vicarious Visions is currently working on Crash Bandicoot Remaster for PlayStation 4, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, and they also just celebrated their 25th anniversary this past September. Also on that same sort of front, Cameron Lee, lead producer of Dragon Age Inquisition, has joined Bungie as executive producer of a new project. So, I mean, do we think, is Bungie doing something altogether new, or is this just code for we didn't talk about Destiny 2 yet?
Man, that's a good question. It probably is Destiny 2, but I feel like I'm hoping Bungie created an iOS only game, and it was some kind of steampunky game. And if you look through the avatars, you can still see some of what that was. I'm hoping that that's what this is that they put this game out and they tested it out and they worked on it, and that it is something, like we were talking about for, a mobile application or something like this.
Do you remember the trailer for Destiny Go?
No.
Do you remember this trailer for Pokemon Go of Destiny Go? It was a trailer of the week one week. It was a video of the week 1 week.
I don't think so.
You remember Destiny Go? It was excellent.
No, I don't remember that at all.
It's amazing. I would play that totally.
Destiny Go. Let's see what this says.
You need to go watch that video. You put on mute, watch the video, and we'll keep talking about stuff. You want me to go into the next thing?
There's a lot of people that are saying, because we had this quote unquote premonition by people, leak, whatever the heck you want to call it, that we're going to PC next incarnation of Destiny, that they're bringing on these other studios to work out the kinks to play on other systems. And now with Nintendo coming out with the Switch, yada yada yada, there's a lot of people saying, maybe all these other studios are doing it so that they can help ease the transition to go onto all these other platforms. I'm just throwing it out there, just since Remy's in his go mode right now, but I don't know if I agree with that. I think that they're bringing these other studios on to help pave the way to having more stuff happen throughout the year, because instead of having the lull times. But who knows? I don't think it's a bad thing bringing on all these studios, as long as it doesn't ruin the game.
Okay. I think it's maybe just because they couldn't keep up with their release schedule for DLC. So now I think what is they can have more teams that can piggyback.
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody's working the initial release. This team's now they got Team A working on the DLC. It's going to come 3 months after that. Team B working on the DLC. It comes 3 months after that, and so on and so forth. So maybe the main team isn't even going to work on anything until they're going to go straight to Destiny 3. You know what I mean? And they already got a team on each DLC doing their own thing for that. And that's my hope, really.
Yeah. Okay. Holy crap! Really Destiny Go.
Edition was an excellent project, so I'm pretty psyched about him coming on, them coming on board as well. And so it really seems like they're reinforcing the ranks.
It's crazy to imagine that there's not enough people at Bungie to create content, that they have to bring on these other studios. But I feel like they're going to make the right choice. I may not always agree with the choices that they make, but I feel like, if they need more people to be working on this and they're willing to go outside,
Do you guys feel it's funny that Bungie left Microsoft because they felt they were being too constrained by the company? They've gone off and done their own thing, but in reality, they're now signed on with Activision Blizzard, who is now getting other Activision Blizzard companies involved with their game. Aren't they kind of going down the same road that they went before?
No, before Microsoft totally owned them. What Microsoft said went. And in this deal they have negotiated with Activision, they have as much say in anything as Activision does.
And now they are the Microsoft, because they are...
They are Microsoft to High Moon Studios. They're Microsoft to Vicarious Visions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but Activision is Microsoft to Bungie.
No, Activision's the publisher.
And they
Microsoft
sure have a lot of say.
Before, but Microsoft has their own studio as well.
I mean, we don't really know, but
from
an outside perspective, it seems like Activision has a lot of push and pull.
Well, they have equal say in the deals, is from what I understand.
Anyways, Destiny Go. I'm ready. I'm ready to go out there and carry my phone around. That looked amazing. That looked absolutely amazing. I loved the follow through on that. That looked like fun.
I'm done. I'm done.
Moving on.
Oh, I don't know if Gray talked about the new studios and the person coming on.
What you got, Gray?
I mean, it seems to me that they're leveraging some graphic design, programming, maybe some intellectual development from a graphic design perspective, and then I think that the rest of the work, if I was going to peg it, I'd say that they're tagging these external studios to develop ports for the game to other platforms. That's a pretty common move in this setting, and hopefully that they partner with good ones, and that if, it seems kind of weird that they'd port to PC rather than develop on PC and port to console, but if that's the direction that they go with it, hopefully they get a good studio that does an adequate port.
Well, maybe Vicarious Visions might be doing that, but at very least High Moon Studios. I mean, from what I understand, High Moon Studios isn't exactly a giant studio, but I mean, clearly they have artists working on things.
No, I think they're using High Moon for some light, and I would call it light graphic design, and programming more elements, as well as a little bit of the artistic design. Yeah, there's definitely some elements that are going to be brought into the game from that, but I think that's going to be a pretty minor piece. If this is what their contribution, they're citing one individual, one armor set, that's a pretty low impact in the big scheme of.
That is unfortunate.
Well,
somebody doesn't like what Gray has to say about stuff.
While he fixes his sound again, I do want to put something else into the equation, and I'm gonna crucify his name, Hideo
Kojima.
Hideo Kojima.
Okay,
Hideo
so
Kojima.
this what happened with him and his studio and what he's doing with the studios that he's working with, I could also see that same kind of thing happening with Bungie, in that the studios that he's working with are giving him access to the way that they do their animation, their whole system, and it wasn't just him and one other company. It was a couple different companies, and they're all kind of working together, and they're building a super system to use to build these games. I could see Bungie doing the same thing with all these other studios, in that there's a lot of people that complain about the system that Bungie was made on. I mean, the system that Destiny was made on, and let's use a different system for Destiny 2. Well, maybe bringing in these other studios is doing that. We're using their system and their software and this and that, and they're conglomerating it to be one super awesome system for Destiny 2. I mean, we have to take that into consideration too. It might not just be the artists that they're using. It could be actually what they're using to make their games.
So
I really hope not, Sharks. I really hope not, only for the sake that if that's what's happening just starting now, this seems super late in the game to be doing core engine functionality integration with other networks. They could be. You could be right. I would just be really bummed in terms of the timeline of Destiny 2 release if that's the case.
Yeah, I think they've been partnering with these studios for far longer than we've known. I mean, this Vicarious Visions studio announcement just happened yesterday or whatnot, or just earlier today, I guess. And the leak that told us that they had already been working with Bungie was months ago.
It's true.
So How long were these studios really working with Bungie before anyone ever knew they were working with Bungie?
True.
For one. Two, I would like to believe that most of these things that we're getting to play were done months ago. And been in testing for months and months and months and months. So, I want to figure, they already had Destiny 2's new engine made before Taken King was released. And we're working on Destiny 2 at that point. I hope.
You can kind of get an idea how long back stuff started based off of the last Bungie stream. That guy came in and said, oh, they asked us to do a new raid, and they were like, okay, well, we'll come in tomorrow and talk about it. We're going to go out and we're going to go and see Mad Max. And that was right when Mad Max was released. And then boom, they put all that stuff into the raid. So, you can go from when it was released, when The Rise of Iron was released, to that day when Mad Max was released in the theaters, and kind of get an idea how long back you're talking. So I totally agree with you. It could be time, but I see what Gray's saying at the same time is like, oh, you hope that if they are coming in and doing these new engines, which, that my hope is, I just threw that out there just because listening to that over the weekend, and I thought, oh, it's really cool that studios are working together. Well, maybe that's something to do. But at the same time, I totally agree with what Gray's saying is that if they're just deciding that now, then it would suck. If they had decided that a long time ago and they have been working and now they're just telling us they're doing it, then it'd be awesome. But who knows?
Absolutely. I was just reassuring him that hopefully, that we already knew that, from this example here, that, there's definitely months before they're officially telling us what's going on, that they're obviously working on it.
I find this odd that what they said that they used the studio for was this armor set, right? Which is nothing that we would think that Bungie needs to leverage external resources to create this armor set. If anything, this was a pilot, this was a test to see how this studio would respond to a task.
Right.
Well, see, the way I see it more is what I kind of expected, since I know, Hyman Studios isn't exactly a giant studio. They're already contracted to the same publisher. So it's not like there's like contractual issues. It's already written, they already work for Activision. I think it's more of a case of, this studio has 3 artists and 4 engineers, and they became part of someone's team at Bungie.
But wait a minute. Okay.
You have to outside of, with my little knowledge.
Yeah, but you have to take something into consideration. Okay, so the live team is what is doing all the stuff that we are playing now until the end of Destiny 1, right? And that live team is pretty small. They have said how big it was. I don't remember the number now. So I'm not even going to pretend to give some number. But it was a very, very small number of that 500 people plus that they have at Bungie. Okay, so if that number is really that small, them doing all this stuff that Activision has turned around and said, you guys need to start popping out more stuff because you're not, the game is falling, it's faltering. We need to get people going with it. Well, they were like, well, our team is too small. We can't get this out. Okay, well, here. Go to this other studio and use them.
No, I don't think the live team includes the actual artists. Like, I would think they pull art from the art department to use. The live team would do that. I think they're the ones who actually put the events together and run the events. But I doubt that I really don't know. I'm just kind of opinionating here.
Right.
So I would think there's probably an art department that turns out concepts, and then the people putting it together say, well, let's use this concept for this.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I can go along with that. Moving on.
In 1 second. So the next thing on the roster is update 2.5.0. This is the one that's going to bring the dawning with it. It lands December 13th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern time. And Cosmo, we don't have the full update notes yet, but Cosmo brought us some finer points that he wanted to share with us early. They fixed an issue where some players didn't receive the Student of History Trophy achievement or the Sigil of Young Wolf emblem for attuning all of the Rise of Iron artifacts. I honestly didn't even pay attention to whether I got this or not. I could not tell you whether I got this or not. I need to go check. Skeleton keys have been adjusted. Skeleton keys drop rates have been slightly increased in the Siva Crisis playlist, the Siva Crisis Heroic playlist, and the weekly Nightfall. Players will now receive a skeleton key for their first Nightfall clear per week. So this is really good. This is kind of how it should have been off the bat, I really feel like, especially since the loot is light adjusted and everything, I don't see why they couldn't have ensured this experience for everyone off the bat. But people are pretty happy with this change. It seems to be an all-around winner. Characters who are level 40 will now automatically convert uncommon engrams, the green ones, to weapon and armor materials on pickup. Remy confirmed earlier with Cosmo that there will be no toggle for this. It would be automatic and unstoppable. There are mixed reactions in the community to this. Some people like to organize, in fact, just this past week, one of the members of Guardian 1 organized a green-only weapon crucible event. And, that's not going to be possible for level 40 characters after this takes place. If you want to have yourself a nice green loadout, you better get it before then with your characters, or you're not going to have one.
Right, Cosmo. Cosmo let me know that you can. He suggested that I use an under level 40 character, and I wanted to reply with a scoff of some kind, because when was the last time any of my characters were under level 40?
I would have replied, "So you're adding a fourth character slot?" Exclamation point.
Jez, you wanted to say words? Jez doesn't want to say words.
I was typing because I'm not sure if I'm going to be shitty quality.
Oh, yes. He says that you can buy greens from the Vanguard. This is true. This is very true.
Definitely look at your options, though, depending on what you're looking to go with. But that is a good point to note. So Brother Vance will now offer materials exchange for passage coins and motes of light. So you can trade in motes of light to get passage coins if you're so good that you don't lose enough to get your own. Legendary weapons can now be obtained from the Gunsmith's ranked. The legendary weapons obtained from the Gunsmith's rank 2 quest can now be repurchased from the Gunsmith. So if you unfortunately, accidentally, or on purpose delete your Susanoo, Still Piercer, or a Mobius, you can now pick those back up from the Gunsmith.
Cool.
I believe it said legendary marks would be used to repurchase those, if I'm not mistaken. Something to note, in preparation, Nightfall activities will be unavailable to players on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One from 1 a.m. Pacific, which is 4 a.m. Eastern, through the release of Destiny Update 2.5.0. They put this restriction in place to prevent players from entering in a state where changes to skeleton key rewards introduced in the update would not be available until following the weekly reset. They did also actually note that 2 issues they've talked about before were not going to be addressed yet in Update 2.5.0, and that they'd let us know progress on those. But the local network fire team issues, right now, players in the same house, a huge spike in this came with Rise of Iron. Whatever changed in the way they network fire teams in Rise of Iron seems to have caused this, but for instance, brothers in the same house who both have Destiny are unable to play Destiny in the same fire team. Sometimes one of them even persistently gets just kicked off Destiny while playing on its own, but they're unable to participate at all in the same fire team. It makes it unable to happen. And this is not cool, especially when. If this is the way Destiny had been from the start, it would be one thing. But these are people who've gone through their entire Destiny journey together, and then with the launch of Rise of Iron, can't play Destiny anymore. Brick wall. And that's really not cool. So really hoping they get the local network fire team issues fixed that were introduced. To me, it seems like they changed something. Like every time you log on now, it says, you get a dozen different Grimoire cards and Siva clusters and things like that. And they also changed it now that if you delete a character, you actually lose that character's Grimoire and such, which that's unprecedented. That's not the way it worked previously. So it's interesting to see what they changed here. Do you think this was maybe in perhaps a test for the way they intended to structure Destiny 2?
It's a good question. Sharks?
No, I think it's an oversight. I have a feeling that they're eventually going to fix it where your grimoire will be the same again, account based. They're gonna fix it. It drives me insane every time I turn on Destiny and I switch characters, have all those grimoire flash through the screen. It's just like, oh, come on, you've had long enough. But we as the gamers, we as the normal people don't realize that punching in a couple codes in the computer is not the answer. It's a lot of stuff that they have to jumble back and forth, and I don't think that it was intended, because again, it has been one way for so long.
I didn't really mean the results. Like, I didn't really mean them blocking people on the same network playing together as intended. I meant the way that if you delete a character, you lose grimoire for that specific character, and whatever's causing these things to flash up every time you switch characters. If that, in fact, was them trying to test like a new method that they were considering using for Destiny 2.
No, but that's what I'm saying is that it has been that way for so long. For them to just boom, that's what it's going to be. I can't see them doing that. But I mean, who knows?
Like something that couldn't have accidentally happened, really. I mean, it just seems to be like something that like somebody physically would have had to done work to accomplish. I don't know the ins and outs though. That's just what puzzles me.
I don't know. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. We as gamers weren't very happy when we had to go through and find all the calcified fragments, and people were playing on 3 characters and finding fragments in different spots and then not realizing where the fragment was. We thought that was a bug, and Bungie said no, it wasn't a bug. So, I mean, I could see what you're saying. Maybe it is intended, and maybe they want to push something else through, but what would be the reason for that, except for making people not want to delete characters? I mean, that really the only reason to do it would be to do that.
Jez?
I mean, it could be a couple different things that they're doing. Like, maybe do we know it was intended that you're supposed to keep it? I mean, considering now with Taken King, we noticed that your grimoire is separate. Or was it Rise of Iron?
It was
Rise of Iron.
Rise of Iron was separate.
Yeah, and that's the same time the networking issues started for the majority of these people and everything too.
They seem too unrelated. I don't see how they're connected. Like, I mean, programming is weird, so possibly they're connected, but it seems like just 2 different issues that are weird and they don't know how to fix. Remember, like, heavy ammo glitch.
Oh, right.
Yep. And that lasts a long time.
What do you think?
But Gray doesn't know about that.
Heavy ammo glitch. Do I remember a heavy ammo glitch?
You need an icebreaker.
Yeah. Did you guys mention account migration maybe being part of this? Remember Rise of Iron? We had to do account migration, so it moved to a new platform.
Networking.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I bet it's related to whatever structure the new accounts are set on, and I think it was an oversight, but I think that they're not going to be able to fix it.
Wow.
No, you're saying you don't think they're going to be able to fix the whole deleting your character, delete your grimoire, or you don't think they're going to be able to fix the networking issues preventing 2 PlayStations in the same house and the same network from being on the same fire team together?
The grimoire piece, I think they'll eventually work out the 2 PlayStations. And Xbox has had the issue too, where 2 Xboxes in the same house with certain network setups you will not be able to join each other's fire teams. But I think they'll work that out.
When you say they won't be able to fix it, you mean that they won't be bothered to try since they're doing other stuff?
I think they're going to have to re-index the way that these new accounts rolled into whatever they put them into, whatever format, how they're living on the server. And I don't think that they're willing to put in the resources today to do that.
I feel like it's kind of silly to devote resources to it when they could just solve it in the next game.
Yep.
No, see, I think Destiny has a lot of longevity to it. I think I know people who have not even picked up their copy of Destiny yet, and literally their whole family just picked up the copy. Like, their 3 cousins, them and their brother who doesn't live with them anymore, all just picked up a copy of Destiny starting fresh. Now, if any of them try to play in the same household together, they may not be able to do it.
Yeah, but see, this goes into something else that we shouldn't get on this topic now at all because it's too long of a topic, is whether Destiny 1 is being integrated into Destiny 2 or Destiny 2 is a complete separate game. Which, like I say, that's not a topic that I think that we should get on at this point. But that's what you're saying, though, is that, based off of whatever they're doing with the next iteration of the game is whether they would put the resources into it now.
Moving on.
So they also said that they haven't been able to address yet the SIVA key fragments going missing from the character inventory. They previously recognized this as a problem, even going so far as to give some tips to help prevent that from actually happening for you. It seems to involve if something gets deleted from some area, a SIVA key fragment gets deleted from some area of your game, it can cause them to be deleted from other areas of your game. The best general recommendation is don't let any SIVA key fragments become deleted, and don't put too large of a stack of any of the keys or the SIVA fragments in any one given location. Hot button issue, which we don't have a lot of time to discuss, but Remy brought it up earlier in the show briefly, was changes to matchmaking settings. These went live today. They're now live in all playlists excluding Trials of Osiris, which matches teams based on the card win still. To quote, "We've made a change to the matchmaking system in an effort to increase match quality. Our specific goal is to reduce the number of matches that begin before they fill up with players. To achieve this, we are expanding the available skill range for other players earlier and more aggressively. We will also be looking for lower latency matches for longer than before. Essentially, this puts a stronger bias on connection quality with less emphasis on skill matchmaking. This may result in slightly longer matchmaking times in some cases. For some of you, this could mean you'll be matched with opponents well outside your skill range. We hope the trade-off is worth it to improve the Crucible ecosystem in general." This has been a highly controversial subject. I, for one, not particularly thrilled because I've been more or less happy with Crucible matchmaking the way it takes place. And I personally do not feel like this is going to improve connection quality.
So I played a couple games this afternoon after it went through. And I don't know that I noticed much of a difference. And I feel like I'm being put, because I've spent so much time taking care of my KD and so much time really just curating my experience within the Crucible and making sure that the way the encounter goes down is in my favor, instead of like how Agrios just rushes in, like in, I guess, hopes. Like I guess that's what you do, Agrios. You rush into a situation and you hope that you can take out these three guys. What's that?
As long as I kill one.
Okay,
if I get the other two, it's bonus.
But for me, I would much rather, pick off a straggler or wait until someone's paying attention somewhere else. I feel like I've already been put in a very high bracket. So the idea that I've been thinking all day is that if you're at the very top, they're opening up this skill bracket to really just lower people. Like, you are just going to face lower people. And if you're at the very bottom, you're going to face higher people. And I feel because I've already been put in this artificially high skill bracket, that I'm not facing better people because I'm already facing really good people. I feel like they've they've just made it so instead of it being one big bruiser on a team that rules, there's like 2 or 3 big bruisers throughout the match. I feel like it was a step in the right direction versus having to say that it was not a step in the right direction. I haven't felt anything that's made my situation negative. I still see red bar people. I still see them teleporting. It's just something that's in the game. I don't see it. I don't think that it has done anything bad.
I think this is only going to solve problems for the higher skilled people that have the complaints about waiting too long for matches and not getting compared to people, fight up with people. I don't think this is going to improve my connection and experience in the Crucible at all. I think that if you're a mid-level player, if you're at the like dead mid-level average of players or below it, this is going to worsen your Crucible experience, period, hands down, any way you look at it. And I feel like personally, except for Sharks and maybe Gray, I don't have enough experience with Gray or know enough about his Crucible experience, but he seems, from what I know, fairly skilled. The rest of us are all below that average. Like, we're all at that average line or below it. And I would say that like Sharks and Gray are just maybe just above that line. And then there's a lot of people out there who are just way better than us. You know, they go to Lighthouse every single week like it's nothing. Hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah. Hundreds of thousands of people are doing this. And Sharks is like one of the best players I know that I play with on there, and he doesn't do that. He's close, but he doesn't do that. So I don't feel like this is going to improve the Crucible for almost anybody I play with.
You know, this just gave me an idea for a skit we should do where Sharks plays a match with Sharks and Sharks on his team. Like, it would be so funny listening to Sharks bark orders at the other Sharks, and then the other Sharks telling me, hey, you don't tell me what to do. It would be hilarious. I think. Let's work on that, Sharks. I think that this is a good goal for the show. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's Sharks. Did you play any Crucible today? Iron Banner?
So I myself didn't get a chance to play. Guru has been playing all day, and connection wise, that she's only seen one yellow bar all day long. But it's always very difficult at the beginning or even middle of the week to tell what it's like, especially in Iron Banner. So we'll be able to talk about this more next week, because come Sunday and Monday, that's when you really, really notice how bad connections are in Iron Banner. Iron Banner is the easiest place to really notice it because there's so many people playing. How I feel about this, I retweeted something that Deej said, and this basically says it all. And this is basically my opinion. For some, this could be a be careful what you wish for moment. As always, the results will be seen the more we play. So, we don't know. We don't know what it's going to be like. Maybe this is a fix. Maybe this is a placebo effect. Bungie has done that, whether they're going to admit it or not. Say they've done something and nothing's really changed. And just watch how people react to things, or maybe very minor changes. I don't know. I will let you know next week really how I feel about it. But I am a proponent of skill-based matchmaking. I have been for a very, very long time. And for them to kind of take skill-based matchmaking away, it scares me. A lot of people bark about, skill-based matchmaking is bad. And I disagree with that. But we'll see.
I'm excited to see. Gray, did you have a chance to check out the new stuff?
No, I haven't had a chance to play today, but I think that Bungie tracks metrics on connection quality as an average in PvP, in the Crucible. And when that connection quality averages drops below a threshold, there's only one other lever that they can pull. And that lever is, okay, how wide of these groupings of skill-based are we going to let the algorithms expand to? I think that the connections become poorer as the player base shrinks down and gets smaller in that activity. And I think they're just responding, right? They know the connections aren't where they want them to be, and the only way they can respond is by allowing a larger player pool to connect together. And I think that this could flip pretty quickly if the player base came back to doing these activities and more people were playing in them within certain skill brackets. So I don't think that their actual focus on this has anything to do with skill. I think it's just trying to widen the number of players that they want an appropriate amount to drive that average number of connection quality that they're trying to do. It's all responding, I think, to the average metrics they see on connection quality.
While I totally agree with what you're saying, I feel like if that is what they're doing, they should just keep their mouths shut and do it. Because what I'm afraid they're going to do, this is such a hot button issue in the community, is that half of the people are going to hate that it was done, and whether there's any change to their life or not, they're going to feel like there was. The other half of the people are going to love that it was done, but not be satisfied with how well it improves their life. So everybody on both halves is going to hate it. Everybody. This is not going to please anybody.
I would actually rather have Bungie say every week, every Tuesday when we drop the update, we make adjustments to the connection and matchmaking every week. So, it's actually understood that we know that they make these adjustments routinely, not these like every quarter, every 3 months something big happens.
Remember, people really hate when you mess with their PvP. Just ask people playing Trials during Halloween.
Now, part of what I was saying with what I was getting at there is that there's no way that you're going to please any of these people at all. So if you really need to do it to improve connection, if they just would keep it quiet, my biggest fear is that they're going to scare a huge chunk of the Crucible player base away, which is just going to exacerbate the problem entirely. Whereas if they just improve the connections behind the scenes, they don't risk scaring those people off immediately.
The problem with what you're saying, though, Agrios, is that people, as it is, already say, not necessarily with Destiny, but other games, is that, the devs, the live teams, they aren't engaged enough helping the community, fixing the. And so Bungie has gone the exact other way of trying to do stuff to really, let the public know what's going on as far as what they're doing. It may be pissing people off, but I don't think them shushing about it would be the right way. They've already gone down this path of let's tell people what we're doing, and let's really engage with our audience. And that's what they've been known for since Destiny's been released. So I think it's good whether people get upset or not.
Oh my God. So this is what it looks like right now in my area. Like I haven't looked outside yet, but this appears to be a snowstorm. You're like I'm right up here at the top. It's just totally blanketed. I bet if I looked outside right now, it's been snowing like crazy. I'm really pleased the connection has held on for so long. Jez, do you have anything to add to this, or we want to
we can move on. I mean, I've said my piece on this several times.
Okay. What else you got, Agrios? We're down to like 6 minutes.
Movie of the week this week was amazing, and it was amazingly filmed. And I was surprised to see it was amazingly filmed by none other than the amazing SC Slayerage.
Cool.
But he was not the one on the Sparrow. He was the one doing the filming. I forget now offhand the name of the guy who's doing the Sparrow work. But getting the Sparrow to Axis, that was an amazing and beautiful feat. that was a great video. I expected to watch a little part of it, like fast forward through, watch a little part of it, and like move on to doing other stuff I was doing, but I was enthralled by the whole thing. It was quite an impressive feat. We also had the 2 honorable mentions as usual. The second one was the Rage and Fury Clantage, and the third one was the Timeless Montage. And they were both, good Clantages and montages. I like the Clantage better than the montage. They were okay, but the movie of the week once again this week was impressive, to say the least.
Excellent.
One final thing that I think is super helpful to everybody. Somebody put together a great vendor weapon infographic on the subreddit. I'll put the links in chat there. But they real quickly put up, each weapon type and each of the perks available on those weapon rolls. These are all as broken down and recommended by a very good guide writer on the subreddit. So it's a really, really handy guide if you need to spend some marks real quick and want to expand your arsenal. You can maybe find some great weapons that fill gaps in your arsenal off that list. So
that's if you have room.
That's if you have room in your arsenal, correct?
So the whole time I'm looking at these new suits of armor, I'm thinking, well, where the hell am I going to put it? Where the hell am I going to put any of this crap?
I understand. I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
I've almost done it. I've almost gone in and just started hacking shit out. Like I've come so close. There's been a couple of times when I'll delete something and I'll think, man, now I have to delete it on the PlayStation. I should have written down what it was so I could just get rid of both of them. And then I don't. And then I think I still have it. That's actually how I found that DIS 47 full auto.
I kind of wish that they had a little listing of what archetype these weapons were.
Oh yeah. That would be helpful.
Cuz it's like, yeah, nice rolls for a scout rifle, but how fast is it?
That's a good point. That would have been a nice bit of issue to a nice bit.
I know we're running short on time, but I do want to put this out there because we did not say about the 2 new exotics that are coming with the dawning.
Continue.
Continue as in don't care about it, or continue as in talk about it?
Well,
what did you say now, Sharks?
2 new exotics. We got 2 new exotics for the dawning.
Oh yeah, I mentioned that earlier, that they're quest-based retrieval.
What did you want to say about them, Sharks? Because to me, they're sort of lame in the realm of new exotics. Not that I don't like Thunderlord.
They're lame in the realm of being new exotics, but they're also something that the community has been asking for a very, very long time, which was a void machine gun, and now a solar one too, in an archetype that's actually usable, not like the piece of crap solar one that we already have.
I see what you're saying.
The Nemesis Star is actually pretty nice.
I really like the Nemesis Star. Okay, then why don't we do shout outs so we can get on with our evenings. Gray, what do you got?
My shout out this week actually goes to my late grandfather. He actually passed away a year ago today, so my thoughts have been thinking a lot about him and what was going on in my life a year ago today when I found out, and so yeah, my thoughts are towards him today.
Sharks.
My shout out goes to the eyes and ears at Bungie. You do listen and you do change things in game, whether it's good stuff or bad stuff, you're doing it. So shout out to all of you. It's a hard job.
Agrios.
My shout out goes to Crimson Warlock, our former podcast member. Our discussion and re-release of Icebreaker made me recall his I don't call it a faux pas, but his interesting choice of words when referring to the vanilla Icebreaker one day, which created that image I posted in chat before. So shout out to Crimson Warlock. Good times,
Jez.
I don't really have a shout out. Shout out to Jimmy Fallon, which showed off the Switch today. That's close enough. That's close to a shout out. Cool.
Excellent. I would like to shout out to Gray, who has been hosting the show since he has joined. This is actually his 29th episode. Next week will be 30 episodes that we've had him on, and at some point we'll have had him on the show for longer than he's not been on, and because he runs it, I don't have to worry about this piece of crap computer over here failing on me. So many shows were just trickled away, like we just sat here waiting for the stupid thing to broadcast. And so we just really keep kicking them out. So Gray, you kick a lot of ass, and I'm sorry for your loss. That's never fun. I'm not looking forward to any more people dying ever. And it just seems like it just keeps happening over and over again. It's a bummer. At some point, my dad said to me, "Oh, I've reached the age where everybody that I ever liked or wanted to hang out with is starting to die, and that's a bummer." And that is a bummer. So I don't know. It sucks. But my shout outs to you, Gray, because you kick a lot of ass, and you add an amazing element to this podcast. Not just how kick ass your broadcasting gear is. You really need to fix that audio thing, though.
Oh man.
Let's not do that anymore. And that wraps up episode 111. We would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, or have any comments on something that has already been covered, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.